All right, this is the greatest honor we've had to date here at NFL Network. We are joined on our set here at the Super Bowl by George Herbert Walker Bush, the 41st President of the United States. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. We appreciate that.
Well, I'm caught up in Super Bowl mania here, and I'm happy to be here.
What do you think of the Super Bowl coming to your town here in Houston?
Well, I think it's great, of course. What I really am interested in, what other people from out of town think. But I can tell you, this event has captured the imagination of all Houstonians, whether they play football or interested in football or not. And it's a great thing for our city. I happen to think we're a very hospitable city.
Yes.
And I hope that's the lasting impression that the fans from all across the NFL feel.
Well, the cab driver I met last night was very hospitable. So
speaking English, was he?
He was very conversant in the language, no question about it.
They're great. The cab drivers here are really wonderful. They are.
Now, I don't know if the Panthers know this, but your presence here at the Super Bowl spells trouble for them, because every Patriots game you've attended, Mr. President, the Patriots have won.
Well, I was reminded of that by Bob Kraft, who's a friend. Mr. Richardson, Jerry Richardson's a friend too, so I'm not sure I want him to hear that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean
I remember one time on his practice field, I went over there, happened to be in Charlotte or someplace, and there they were. And they couldn't have been more hospitable, so I'm conflicted on the game.
And the game is going to be decided perhaps by the fact that you're there. I mean, who knows, right?
Well, I'll take credit, I guess, but no, it's going to be wonderful.
Oh,
the thing about this game, of course, true of most of the teams, but we got two great owners. You got two great high-quality coaches, and that sends a message way beyond the confines of the NFL, in my opinion. Well, it's just great for sports.
In 1942, you were named the best athlete at Andover, and 30 years later, Bill Belichick was a lineman on that team. The coach of the Patriots is an Andover man. You must be pleased about that.
I am pleased that he was, and I think one of his sons went there, or maybe it was a daughter. But yeah, it's a great school for athletics. Although I didn't play football, I was a soccer player in those days, baseball, basketball. But it's a great athletic school, and he and I were conversing at dinner the other night about that.
Who's the best football player you've ever met, Mr. President?
Best one I've ever met? Well, if you put it this way, that I feel I know pretty well, would be Roger Staubach.
Okay.
I mean, I've not only was he a huge football player, but then he went on and been very successful in life, and our paths have crossed once in a while. But I think I'd have to put Roger down. But there are a lot of others too but he's the one I feel that on cloud, way up there on cloud 10 or whatever.
He's a darn good quarterback, no question about that.
Yeah.
Could you describe when did you watch the Super Bowl while you were at the White House as a sitting president?
Oh, I'm sure I did. I just can't remember. I can't remember where I had breakfast yesterday. I'm almost 80, so
all right.
I can't remember any of the details at all.
I can't tell that at all.
Yeah.
Your son, the current president right now.
He'll be watching.
He'll be watching.
I'm confident he will.
He's as huge a sports fan as they come.
He's a very knowledgeable sports fan, particularly in baseball, because he was a knowledgeable owner.
Right.
But he likes the sport. I expect my other son Marvin will be with him. This is just off the top of my head.
Sure.
But Marvin's a great sports fan. And so they'll probably be there, maybe with a couple of grandkids run in.
Right. Who is the out of all the foreign dignitaries you've met in your illustrious career, who's the biggest sports fan that you met out of all of those folks?
That is hard to tell, but I think it would have to be Carlos Menem of Argentina.
Okay.
He's a soccer football fan.
Okay.
Loves it. Loves to compete in golf. Loves to compete in tennis. He's no longer in office, but he was one I knew very well. I stayed with him and competed with him in these sports. And it wasn't just the playing, he liked the fray, he liked the winning, and he liked the sportsmanship aspect.
How about you? Are you still playing golf? You still doing stuff like that? Or?
Well, some say it's committing golf. It's different than playing golf. I've really I don't even have a handicap, but I've gotten really bad, and yet I like to play. I'll play from the red ladies' tees until they put something in front of them. And the boys tease me and say, "Don't trip on your skirt, Betsy, when you're going up there." I said, "Wait a minute. Wait till you get to be my age." So it doesn't bother me anymore. I go right up there and play. And I love it. And I do play quite a bit. I've took some friends over to Pine Valley, and then I played at Augusta, a member of Pine Valley, not Augusta, and played at both those places. And I suddenly realized courses like that ought not to let a guy like me play on them anymore, because they're too big and too. But it's wonderful just to walk where the greats have walked. I like that.
And you've been doing a lot of spectating of Houston Texans games, I've been told.
Yeah, I have. And I of course, Mr. McNair, Bob McNair, is a friend, been extraordinarily generous, and I love it. We sit in the end zone. His box is in the end zone. And I've always thought, you know, when I was growing up, you got to have 2 on the 50, you know? But now we sit there, and I'll tell you, I've learned a lot, even at my age, about the game, watching the plays develop from the end zone perspective. And if you got good glasses, as he does, you can see the play way down at the other end of the field.
I've been told the only person who gets into the game in that box more than you is the First Lady, your wife, Barbara Bush. Is that true?
Well, no, she didn't go more. No? But we go to a lot together.
Okay.
And she loves it, and of course she goes to the baseball games too.
At the Minute Maid here, she keeps score?
Yeah, she can still keep score and does it and loves it. And we're blessed to be friends of Drayton McLean as well as the McNair. We got 2 great owners here.
Right.
I mean, the McNairs and the McLeans are just wonderful, and they're very thoughtful to us. My problem is for baseball, we leave here about the middle of May, and we're gone till the middle of October.
Right.
So we miss a lot of the season, although this year I'll come back for the All-Star game. And
well, with Roger Clemens and Andy Pettit here now, perhaps they play deep into October, correct? Maybe you can catch some playoff games.
I hope they will.
You know.
But it's a great thing for our city that those 2 are going to be here.
Well, that's
of course,
terrific.
we got a great quarterback on the Texans, and I think he'll be a all-pro guy someday. I'm sure he will. He's so good, and he's such a decent man too.
And it's in terms of you still being active, your 80th birthday is coming up in June, and I'm told you're planning on jumping out of a plane to celebrate that with the Army Golden Knights.
That's right.
And is it true that you plan on jumping out and landing right by your library at Texas A&M? Is that the case?
That's the plan, and that's what I did on my 75th birthday. It's a free fall, but you'll have a couple of Golden Knights right at my side in case something gets messed up, which it won't. And you land right there in the field, and then that's my final jump. Barbara, my wife, one way or another, this will be your final jump.
No.
I said, hey, phrase it a little differently, will you? But no, it'll be good, and I like it. And we got some of our grandkids will be jumping tandem jumps, but still they get the thrill of it. And I don't know, people say, well, why do you do that? Well, I do it for a lot of reasons. One, it's a physical thrill, but also it shows that when you get to be old, that doesn't mean you have to stop having fun. It's like why I like to go over 60 miles an hour in my boat, or why I love to root at all these ball games. I like to, you just keep going.
The competition, that's what you feel, no doubt. You felt probably in your in your rooting career
and
as well as your professional career.
I think it, you know, I'm sure I made plenty of mistakes as president, but I think part of my motivation came from the athletic experience. It's very much like politics. The adrenaline gets flowing as it does in the game. And so I like to think that participation in sports was pretty good training, just as my military was for being president.
Well, we couldn't be more thankful for you gracing us with your presence here on NFL Network, which is...
Well, I wish you well with this network.
Thank you,
It's
sir.
an interesting concept with these owners and the NFL being there, and I wish you all the best.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, you mentioned Mr. McNair and Kraft and Richardson are your friends, so you're a friend of the NFL Network anytime.
Well, I know a lot of those owners, yeah. Art Modell is another one.
Can you do us one favor and call
Woody Johnson?
Yeah, sure. Call your son in the White House and have him call his local cable operator to get NFL Network. Would you mind doing that?
Maybe they got it. I don't know. They got
think
almost every network I've ever seen when I go there.
Okay. Well, then hopefully that's where he'll tune right after he watches the Super Bowl, sir. We really appreciate you coming on.
Not at all. Thanks for having me. Good
George
to see
Bush
you.
joining us right here on our set here in Houston, Texas. The first fan of Houston joining us right here on NFL Network. We'll be right back.